Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are, what time you're listening to this. My name is Winston, the content marketing guy. And today I am super excited to have Carla Williams Johnson with us. This is a conversation that's supposed to have happened a very long time ago. So I'm very excited that she took time out to actually spend some time with us today. Carla, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great also. I'm doing wonderful. How are things where you are?
Well, I'm in Trinidad and Tobago, and things are fabulous here. It's very hot all the time, as you know, but we're doing pretty well here. COVID is under control, and it's a Trini life. It's an island life here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, same for us here in Jamaica, fellow Caribbean peoples.
Yeah,
So,
we're blessed people, and we're blessed.
definitely. So guys, before actually getting into what we want to talk about today, let me just share a bit of background about Carla. So she has held positions as senior marketing officer and communications manager in a very heavy in the media advertising space. She's also an award-winning media marketing specialist based in Trinidad, as she would have just mentioned. And she's also founder of Carla Communications, which offers advertising and marketing advice services to entrepreneurs, business owners to help them boost visibility, identify their ideal clients, and also execute the type of campaigns to help them increase revenues. And she's also been named the top marketers to follow, one of the top marketers to follow, and has publications in very prestige and very prominent names such as Forbes, Huffington Post, and BuzzFeed, just to name a few. So we have what one would call an expert with us today to really speak about all things marketing and whichever direction this conversation will take us. So Carla, since they know that you, as we call it here in Jamaica, top a top,
Oh my God.
um, I know you didn't just come to where you are today. There has to be a journey. There has to be a story behind everything that you've done. So just take us through that journey from as far back as you want to take us in terms of how you got into marketing, what you're doing right now to lead up to the point of where we are today.
Oh my God. Well, there are many mini stories within in the big story, so I'll try to condense it as much as possible. So I've always loved advertising. I was one of those weird people that was more interested in the commercials than the actual TV show, and more interested in the magazine ads than the actual articles in the magazine. I've always been fascinated by the way people could communicate through advertising and how they could use the media to influence people to purchase or to even to not necessarily to buy, but to do whatever it is. I don't know if you remember back in the day. I know I'm aging myself here, but back in the day, we used to have those scratch and sniff type
Yes,
magazines,
yes,
right?
yes,
So I was
yes,
like,
yes.
imagine you can get somebody to scratch and sniff a magazine paper. I was always fascinated by that. So when I was of age, internet was coming on stream. Oh my God, I'm so old. Internet was actually coming on stream. That time was dial up.
Oh,
I decided I
yeah.
was going to research top advertising agencies in the world, and that's what I did. And I realized that some of them had affiliates here in Trinidad and Tobago. And I used to pick up the phone and I said, "How do I get in? What do I do? What do I need to? What is what? What programs do I need to take? I need to get into advertising. This is in my blood." And I never really got a firm answer. It was more, if you're passionate about it and stuff like that, but I never really got a firm response as to what qualifications you needed. And then one day I said, you know what? I'm going to try my hand. So I reached out to an advertising agency that allowed me to come in and learn under them a few hours a day, a few days a week. And then eventually I got my big break. I was awarded media marketer at one of the top advertising agencies here in Trinidad and Tobago. I didn't even know what a media planner was. It was a media planner, but I didn't even know what that was. All I knew I was getting into an agency. And
Right.
that's where my love of the media started because then I realized, wait, you can do the most fantastic ad, the most wonderful piece of artwork. But if the right people don't see it, it's not going to make any sense, right? And that's what I did. I put it in front of the people so that the artwork would make sense, that people would be motivated. So we used to deal with the copywriters and the graphic artists and the production department. But when it came to media, we would be the one to say, no, you need to put that on TV. No, you need to put that on radio because that's where your people are and that's where you're going to connect with them. So fast forward a few years, everyone told me, oh my God, Carla, you are fabulous. You are the, you're very innovative. You're very out of the box thinking. You need to open your own company. And I was like, no. Because opening my own company means I'm dependent upon myself. But,
Yeah.
when you have a calling and the Lord is calling you to do certain things, you have to listen. You just have to listen. So I went from job to job and I found like I was outgrowing every position because I needed to do something more, something bigger. And the last company I worked with, I was sick all the time. It reached the point where I was sick all the time and I had to go for surgery and it was terrible. It was terrible. For months I was physically ill. And I woke up one morning and I said, this is it. I don't wanna work in this place anymore. There's something better for me. And that
Right.
same exact morning, I kid you not, that same exact morning, I didn't even have time to put my bag down as yet when I walked into the office. HR called me and told me my position was redundant. And I was like, all right, God, I am listening. After being hardcore,
Sign taken.
yes, yes, I am listening. Right. And that was in 2016.
Right.
So 2016, fresh face, new entrepreneur on the scene. That time I had one child. She just finished primary school and heading into secondary school. What am I going to do next? So I'm going to do everything that I read about. I'm going to network. I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to, try to find new clients. And I have literally been growing strength to strength because when you start off, you don't know. You think you know, but you don't. And you depend on other people who've been where you are to tell you. But what I've also realized is when you're starting off on business, you also take advice from people that you really shouldn't.
Yeah.
And that leads you to a place that you don't really want to be, or it kind of hampers you, especially if you run into people who want you to do good but don't want you to do better than them. I've met a few of them on my journey. And one in particular, well, actually, no, not even one, a few of them in particular told me you need to give up. You're dabbling in something where you don't belong. You are the wrong color, you are the wrong gender, you live in the wrong country to ever make it as a marketing person. So, why don't you just go back and work for people? That's what you're good at, right? And I wouldn't lie, it really affected me. It affected how I put myself out there. It affected how I would present myself. It really hit my confidence hard. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am in the wrong industry, but I like what I do and I'm very passionate about helping people. And I decided to ignore that. And I decided to put myself out there anyway. And here I am talking to you. This would not have happened if I had listened to them. You
Right.
said it. I've been in Forbes. I've been in Huffington Post. Some of my clients tell me I'm like salt. I'm in everywhere and I'm in everything. I've been awarded top promotions company at last year's Media Innovator Awards. I mean, a lot has happened to me, and I'm very blessed and I'm very thankful. But my point is, if I had listened, I would never be here. This would not have happened. That's basically my journey from then to now. That's it in a nutshell.
Right. And there's so many things that I really want to unpack from that because I think your story is a very unique one. Not that unique in the sense that not that other people probably don't struggle with the same thing, but the fact that you had this dream and people told you you can't do it because of whatever their reasons were, but you're still able to overcome all of that to where you are right now. So I think this is really a shift away from marketing just for a brief second to really help us to understand how did you overcome those, I guess you could call it feelings of inadequacy, because I'm sure you're not the only person in general, but more so not the only female Black entrepreneur or even someone that works in a corporate that's probably been told the same thing. And probably there are other women listening right now who could use your advice in terms of how are you able to overcome that time of your life.
To be honest, it was hard. I mean, it's when someone says, or when multiple people say the same things over and over again, you tend to believe it, right?
Right.
And there was a point in time where I actually did think that, giving up was the right thing to do. But what happened is that I found myself a new community, a community that embraced who I was and embraced my uniqueness. Because in them embracing me and telling me that I could do it, I was able to say, but wait, I don't look different. I don't sound different. This is, I mean, yes, I do, but it's no different. It's not a difference that's going to keep me back. It's not a difference that, you know, that is a negative. It's actually a positive difference. I stand out. My way of speaking, right? My tone and how I say things, and even the Trini twang that I use sometimes in my videos and stuff. That's unique. People want to know. They want to know about doubles and they want to know about soca music. I am a soca music lover. I swear. I was one of those people that had a serious carnival to banga this year, right? But they love. So every time I do like a video or a live or even when I do training sometimes, so because I hold training every other Sunday with a couple ladies, I always start my sessions with soca music because they love it and they want to know more about me. And my point is, once you come to the point where you embrace what makes you different and what makes you unique, people will love that about you. The same things that people told me that should work against me were the same things that people loved. They just loved it. I did some videos. This was pre-COVID, obviously, where I went to different parts of Trinidad and Tobago and shot 10-minute videos, 5-minute videos, and people loved it because they loved the scenery and they loved all of these things. I didn't think it was anything special, but they do, right? So anyone that's listening out here and you've been heard the same nonsense that I've heard, which I'm pretty sure that you have, my two pieces of advice to you is definitely find a community that embraces you and that you can talk things over with and would really push you forward. So many of us try to find communities where it's friends and or people that we know. People who we know, if they're not on the same journey with us, they're not going to get it, right?
Right.
You need
Right.
to find a community of people who get it, who get what it means to build a business. And the second thing I would tell you to do is embrace what makes you unique, whatever that is, whatever that might look like. Embrace it because the quicker you embrace it, the quicker people will love you for it.
All right. Awesome. Awesome advice. All right. So going back into marketing though.
Yeah, let's
uh,
talk.
I think this is more a question for me, to be honest, if I'm really being honest. Because you mentioned about being able to understand different placements where advertising is concerned. And one of the things that came to me is, as someone who is a communication specialist, when it comes to actually creating those ads, well, not creating them, from your end, but distributing those ads and communicating those ads to your target audience. Probably walk us through if there's much of a difference, that is, the difference between communicating an ad in a newsprint versus a TV ad versus a radio ad versus social media. Like, are there different nuances or is it just communicating that message?
There are slight nuances. So, for example, everything stems from your audience, right? Everything stems from your audience. So, what have you put in the ad, whether it's written or electronic, has to speak directly to the target that you're talking to, whatever their pain point is. It's not about what you sell, it's about the solution that you solve, right? So, you're not going to
Right.
say, I'm selling, this bracelet, right? You're selling a way for me to feel confident by looking good, right? That's the whole difference. But the difference between a press and let's say a radio ad is press, you have to use very eye-catching images. You need to
Right.
use an image that's going to capture the attention of the reader. Because as you're flipping through, if it doesn't capture your attention, you're going to pass it through, right?
Mhm.
Same thing with TV. You have audio and you have visual. What is the hook? What is the thing that's going to make people, as they're flipping through, stop to say, "Oh my goodness, I need to watch this ad," right? What is the subject line? What is going to capture them? When it comes to radio and television, although radio is only audio, and you do have to have a hook, you can't go on forever, right? We typically say to clients, this needs to be said in 30 seconds. And typically you capture the client's attention in less than 5 seconds. So whatever you say in the first 5 seconds is what needs to hold their attention so they can watch the rest. But typically we don't go above 30-second ads, right? When it comes to press, any size can work. We typically recommend maybe a full page or a half page, but really any size could work once you have a good enough graphic. And when I say good enough, engaging enough graphic. And
All right.
and as we're on the topic, when it comes to social media, right, the same would go. What would be a gripping graphic that you can use? What would be a gripping headline that you would use? So if people are scrolling, that they're going to stop and read the captions and stuff like that. So it just translates from traditional to digital.
All right. And do you have any tips like how to create those eye-catching imagery or even those headlines that copy? You have any tips that you can share with us?
I would strongly suggest do some research first and see what your target is interested in. It really does depend on what you're promoting and what clients want from you. Um, the most I would say though, especially when it comes to print, don't be too wordy. Unless it's a press where you're being interviewed or what we call an editorial piece,
All right.
don't let it be too wordy. Less is more. Less is more.
All right, awesome. So let's segue a bit away from advertising to more PR. And it's funny because I know you're also a PR specialist, and I can be open and very transparent and admit this that I really didn't think there was much value in PR, and that's coming from me who is a marketer. And it's funny because I know that a lot of people feel the same way, that only people who really are gung-ho about PR are those who actually specialize in that. But it wasn't until I actually executed a campaign,
That's
and an element of it was actually PR, because we needed to tell that story to really get people, I guess, engaged and bring them into what we wanted to communicate to them, that would lead to that sale. That's when I was really like, this PR thing is special. So so now it's like, for me, it's a part of my marketing mix in terms of when I'm working with clients. I'm like, if we can add an element of PR to it, then we definitely should. So I guess my question is, in your eyes, because let's just get very basic right now for those who probably they've heard the term, but they really don't understand what it is. Like, first of all, what is PR? And secondly, in your opinion, what's its importance to businesses in terms of helping them grow, business growth overall, really?
Well, I'm happy you asked that because I do understand that a lot of people don't know what PR is, right? They think it is, oh, I'm just gonna appear on a television show or whatever. They don't understand the real benefits of it. So PR is basically establishing and maintaining relationships with your people. And your people can look like your clients, your customers, it can look like your suppliers, it can look like your stakeholders, but it's really maintaining those public relationships that you have. That's literally it, right? And why it's important, especially now, is gone are the days of, price, get this at a cheaper price. So
Right.
people want to be more informed and they want to trust the people that they do business with. People are very big on, they're very discerning with how they spend their money, especially now, post COVID, right? They're very discerning with where they spend their money. So they want to be able to form that relationship and they want to be able to trust the people that they do business with. Advertising can help bring the people to you, but PR is what keeps them there. And the reason I say that is because once you have that endorsement from a Forbes, or Huffington Post or your TV station or whatever it is, people automatically see you in a different light. Anyone with a internet connection and a device can open a social media page, open a Facebook page, and say they're an expert. Anybody could open a website, buy a domain name, for $12.99 US and call themselves, an expert. But once you have that endorsement from some reputable media house saying, hey, you need to watch Carla's communication. She's doing really well and she's done this and she's done that. Then people sit up and listen. All of a sudden you're somebody. Because
Right.
the media only interviews people who know what they're doing. The media isn't going to interview any fly by night, as we say here in Trinidad and Tobago. So that's why PR is important. Another reason why PR is important is we live in a world where what you do and what you say could take off in a whole different direction and come back to you in a negative light, right? Anything, right? You can piss off some segment. But
Right.
what PR does is that it maintains your reputation. So if people know that you stand for a certain thing, or this is your message, if any negativity happens, you are able to easier get over it. And people will quickly forgive you because they will know that's not you, or maybe you had a bad day, right? And to give you a perfect example of that, I had not a client, an ex boss of mine. His son did something very terrible. Almost let's I'm gonna just use the word. It was racist. It was racist and insensitive. But he was not a racist, right? And some people who did not know him was calling for his fans to, remove their business because of his son. And people he didn't even know came to his defense because and said, he's not a racist person. He's not in control of what his son says. His son is an adult that doesn't even live here in Trinidad and Tobago. He lives away, right?
Right.
That is the power of PR. People didn't even know who he was, but they knew what he represented. So they were able to come to his defense and basically save his business before everything kind of took off. So PR, it's a very important ingredient in your marketing mix. It really should never be overlooked. Um, and I think too many people don't really understand why it's necessary, and that's why I'm here.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk about, because you mentioned about establishing, maintaining those relationships, public relationships. Based on what you just mentioned a while ago was basically damage control. How can we use, because I mean, as a business owner,
Mhm.
I was talking about in general here, not necessarily myself. Um, Business owners think in terms of dollars and cents. Like
Yeah.
make this make sense. Like, yeah, you can talk to me about establishing relationships or damage control if needs be, but how can I actually use PR to help me get customers, to help me make money? So I don't know if you actually have a framework that you can walk us through, or just some tips and advice that you could share.
Well, definitely PR is a long-term game. Like you're not gonna make cash on in a short-term basis with PR. That's not gonna happen. PR is ensuring that people know that you exist. It's ensuring people know what you stand for and letting people know that you are here to serve them, right? So it's really the long game. So similar to word of mouth, let's use word of mouth, where people will say,
Right.
hey, you need to go by this person is doing good work. PR is basically that times 1,000, right? You get to show up to more people and you get to share your story, because sharing your story is what creates the trust factor for people to buy from you. Now, the more you do that, it translates into dollars and cents. So I can tell you that for me, especially, there are times where I would do a a television feature or even a radio interview, and within 24 hours, I will get a call that translates into a sale. I can tell you that. That has never happened to me on social media, because social media is letting people know, yes, I'm here, but social media is very noisy. Last time I checked, I think it was like 50 million small businesses on Facebook alone. That's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
I didn't know it was
That's a
so
lot
much.
of yeah, that's a lot of noise, and that's the last like survey. I'm sure it has gone up since then, right?
Right.
But that's a lot of noise to cut through, right, for people to hear you. But again, when you have the support of a media house saying that you need to listen to this person, people act faster, right? They act fast, and even if they cannot purchase from you, they've heard your voice. They know they've heard what you stand for. So now they can tell other people, hey, I heard Carly Communications on radio and she was talking some real good stuff. And I think you should give her a call. And maybe that turns into a sale as well. So, long story short, it is a long-term strategy. It yes, it should be included. It's a lot, but it's a long-term strategy. And when it comes to crisis management and crisis response, which falls under PR as well, that is a way to save you money. So, for example, let's just say this person that I was telling you about, where his son was concerned. Let's suppose he didn't establish that type of reputation. He would have lost all his clients, right? People would not have wanted to do business with him. Then he would have had to spend money to do a PR campaign to prove to people that he's not like that. That's money that he didn't have to spend before that he had to spend now, right? I can even take you back to Starbucks. I don't know if you can remember when Starbucks, they had these two black guys that they put out, and that was a whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
They had to do a press release, and then they had to close down all the Starbucks across America for a day to do training. That's money that they would not have had to spend if they had done it right in the first place. So in that respect, PR saves you a lot of money and it saves you a lot of headache as well.
Right. And so we know the importance of PR. Talk us through, let's say someone actually wanted to launch, not necessarily a PR campaign, because based on what you're saying now, it should be something that's a constant, it should be consistent.
Mhm.
So let's call it a PR initiative. Someone wants to launch a PR initiative or a program today. What are some steps that you would advise them to do right now?
Definitely do some research and see what your client is, what your audience, sorry, is interested in, what's near and dear to them. What can you get involved in that, that your customers or your clients will be like, oh my gosh, yes, I can see that you're doing this and I can see that you're passionate about it. Don't do it don't do it to just get customers. Do it because you want to do it and you're passionate about it, but
Yeah.
still let it be something that your clients are involved, your customers are interested in. So it could be like look like donating to a home. It could look like volunteering your time. It could look like baking a cake. Like it could look like anything. It could look like cleaning up a area, a common area, a park, or something like that. Right? You can start very small. Also look for things that you can sponsor. So if your target is very much into music, right? Are there any concerts that are coming up? Is there a up and coming steel pan band or an up and coming singer that you could help promote and associate yourself with that in exchange for a logo and a commercial also, because people will see you supporting the arts or supporting certain things and you can get some mileage out of it. So there are little things like that that you can do to show that, to start a PR initiative, as you say, and also to show people that you care, because PR is really showing people that you care. But as I said before, make sure you actually are passionate about it, because if you're not, people will know, right? There are a lot of people out here. I can't speak for where you are, but I can speak for here. They love to jump on trends, right?
No, it's very much the same thing in
Yeah,
Jamaica.
yeah. Don't jump on a trend if it's not something that is, something that you are passionate about. Like Black Lives Matter, that was a trend, right? Everybody jumped on that trend, and a lot of people got burned because they jumped on a trend that they didn't need to be on, because people knew that they weren't passionate about it. And it's okay to not be passionate about something, right? You just stay away from it. Don't jump on a trending topic just because it's trending right now. That is a lesson that you don't want to have to learn the hard way.
Yeah, and it's true because as you're talking, I remember a similar situation here. I can't remember exactly who it was, but someone very prominent died. I think it's probably someone that's known globally. And there's a financial, I think it was a financial institution here that, they put out a press release saying, our deepest condolences to so and so and so. And then at the end of the ad, you're like, XYZ company, which is the reason why we have the products or services that we offer because
Yes.
we're in support. And I was like, no,
No,
no, you
no.
did not just use this man's death as a way to promote your products. And they got a lot of backlash for it because
Yeah,
they're
that
saying, how can you be saying that? Because you don't even know the man.
not only that, you clearly don't care, right? You clearly
Yeah,
just use the debt as a way to promote your business. I
right.
remember right here in Trinidad and Tobago, there was a missing young lady, and she was kidnapped at the time, and she was missing for a few days. And people were, sending out their condolences. Well, not really condolences. They were like sending out their
Yeah.
prayers, bring her back safe,
Best wishes and
stuff
so on.
like
Yeah.
that. And this one person of owner of a bridal shop, she was like, she put up a picture of a dress, right? And she's like, come back soon so your daddy can walk you down the aisle in one of our fabulous wedding dresses. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And I feel like people don't realize how important PR is. I mean, maybe in her head it made sense, but if she
Yeah.
had someone that had a PR way of thinking, it would have been like, that's all PR is not good PR. You don't wanna have to dabble in that. And then she had to issue an apology, and oh my god. And then it was made worse because the person, she was found, her body was found, I think, like 3 days after that. So it just made it very, it was just
Mm,
a terrible thing. But what my point is, it was a trend. It was a trend at the time. And I
right.
hate to use the word trend because of the situation that I'm talking about, but it was a trending topic. It's what everyone was talking about. And
Right.
not because something is trending doesn't mean that you have to jump on it. You can send your best wishes and stuff, but you don't have to jump on it to sell your product. It's not cool. It's not good.
Yeah, and you said something, and I actually agree that whatever it is your PR initiative is based around, it has to be something that you're passionate about, something that you believe in. Because I recently worked with a client. They make like winter jackets out of Canada, and their thing was very big on animal free products and all of that. But they weren't just saying it. These are things that, because I worked with the team, and I can see that these are things that they're genuinely passionate about, they genuinely care about. These are the company's culture and their values, and because of that, they got a lot of customers, just around just that one communication that, hey, our stuff are animal free. So you have people who would support, like a Peter, would come on board, and they loved it, they love the company for it, and they got sales and customers as a result. So one of the things that even that experience taught me, just reinforcing something that you said, was the importance of actually building your PR initiative around something that you actually believe in. Because quote unquote, if shit hits the fan, that's an example that you gave me with the young man and his son, then at least people will say, no, we know that this person is not this way. We know that
Yeah.
based on what they've been doing over the last couple of months or years, that this is who they are as a person.
Mhm. And I love what you said just now about the endorsements and the sponsorships. People don't realize that people are listening and people are watching. And if you put yourself out there and you say what your values are and what you want to be aligned with, it's easier for you to get sponsors for your business. It's easier for people to
Right.
come to you, not just to get your products or services, but to also endorse you as their partner through sponsorship and give you money in order for you to build your business and reach more people. So PR has this unifying, element to it where it brings people together once you are clear and you operate within your values.
Right. So let's and I think this is probably the final question I want to ask you. But I know it's a very important one. I know it's something that a lot of, especially startups, small businesses would think about, in
Mhm.
terms of, so I'm a small business, for argument's sake, right? Hypothetically. and I want to do my PR thing. I want to launch a PR program, but I'm thinking, but I don't have the budget or the resources. Like probably let's say a Procter and Gamble or a Pepsi or one of those like major conglomerate brands would have. Like, how can me as a small business, a little man, if you want to call it that, compete with
So,
those big giants?
so I will let you in on a little secret. I don't have Procter and Gamble money either, right? I'm, and I've done it, right? I'm not Kardashian rich yet, right?
uh,
But I'm doing it. So, and the thing is, PR is free. The media wants to interview you. The media
right,
wants you to show up to their people, to motivate them, to educate them, to inspire them. That's what they want, right? When COVID hit last year in March, which I call the dark days, March 2020 was the longest month ever. It had like 100 million days in it, right? But what I said is, you may not be in control of what happens. You may not be in control of a lot of things, but you are in control of who sees and who hears you. So I
right,
use that to say, well, okay, I'm going to show up to my people. And I show up to moms, right? To tell them, listen, this is how you stay sane and productive even with a toddler. Because I actually have a son now. He's 3. And he drives me insane, but I still have to work, right? And people wanted to know how to do it. I showed up to entrepreneurs and said, listen, this is how you market even in a pandemic. This is how you show up. These are some tips to help you push through where you are now and move forward with your business, regardless of what might be happening. And that's how I used PR, right? And the media wanted that kind of advice to share with their audience. So my advice to anybody that's listening or anybody that's watching us right now, just decide where your audience is and what your message is. What do you want to say? Who do you want to speak to? And then decide, okay, based on this, I need to reach out to this person and tell them, okay, I want to come on your show, on your program. I want to be featured in your publication to talk about this because this is something your audience needs to hear. It's not about what you want to say, but it's about what their audience needs to hear from you or
right.
read from you. So do it. It's scary. I know we in the West Indies, we've been conditioned to, you don't show off, and PR is all about self love and showing off yourself, and that's nonsense. That is
Mhm.
nonsense, and you need to get it out of your head because people need to know who you are and how you can help them, and you need to show up. And there is no better, more productive use of your time than showing up on a reputable, widely listened to or widely read publication and letting them know, hey, I'm here and this is how I can help you.
Yeah, and it's a very good point. The last point that you made is very, very important about because people, entrepreneurs, business owners, whoever the case may be, I don't know if it's a fear, but it's more of an apprehension that I don't want to put myself out there because I know it's something that I used to struggle with. This could actually lead into another question, but
Okay,
let me put the context.
okay.
Yeah, because there's even a client that I was working with at one point that I know he said the same thing that that's not really me putting myself out there, that's not really my thing, and that used to be my mindset as well. But then I realized, well, if I really want to communicate and promote the message that I want to communicate to my audience, then I have to put myself out there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because other people may assume that I'm an extrovert. I'm actually not. I actually don't like putting myself out there, but I know the need and importance of doing it if you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish. So probably, and this is a question now, probably you could share some tips around that, like how can people overcome that anxiety of really putting themselves out there?
so the easiest thing for me to tell you is to do it, right? That's very easy for me to say, right?
Yeah.
Just do it, just do it. Um, but I understand. I get that it's a bit of a fear. I think that's why a lot of business owners like social media so much. You can still kind of hide behind your
Right.
post, right? I think that's why they like social media so much. But I would strongly recommend for someone who is an introvert or someone who doesn't like to show up only when necessary. right? You don't have to be everywhere. You don't
Right.
have to say yes to every publication. Be very clear. This is what you're coming to talk about. This is the audience. This is the publication, and show up there alone. It is better you pour your energy into one thing or a few things that make strategic sense than you just try to be everywhere and be everything to all people, right?
Right.
So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is take your time and find out what is best for you. So PR can look like a guest blog.
Right.
PR
Right.
could look
Right.
like a podcast that we're doing here, whether it's camera on or camera off. PR could look like a television interview. What is best for you, right? What is best
Mm.
for your personality, right?
Right.
Do you prefer to write because you don't want to be seen too much? Start with writing, start with guest blogging. Look for
Right.
magazines that you can write for, right? If you're not much of a writer and you prefer to talk, but you still don't want to be seen, right? Do a podcast where the camera is off, or a radio interview where they can hear your voice. So find what suits you best and suits your personality best and start there. And then eventually you will gain the confidence. That's a side effect of getting PR. Your confidence builds.
Right.
The more you do, the more people want you, and the more people want you, the more your confidence builds. So you can start where you're most confident and comfortable and grow from there.
Right. Awesome. All right, Carla, thank you so much. And before we go, do you have anything else that you want to add? Because probably there's a particular direction that some tips and advice that you wanted to share with us before we go.
I would say, make PR a part of your marketing strategy. I mean, I know people will tell you, oh, you need to be on social media and stuff. And that's great and it's important and it's true. And yes, we're moving to a digital realm, but don't discount the value that traditional media can bring to you through PR and getting your business and your story out there. That's
Right.
what will connect you more, and it's going to connect you faster with your people when they know about your story. And when I say share your story, I don't mean that you have to share every aspect of your life, but definitely share the things that you want people to know about you so they can get to know, like, and trust you, so they can form that relationship with you, so they can buy from you or even interact with you.
All right, awesome. So, Carla, thank you again for being on Conversation with Marketers. If anyone wants to reach out to you just to connect, talk some more, actually reach out to you for your services, how can they reach out to you?
Okay, so I am on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Carly Communications. That's Carli Communications. And I'm also giving free consultations to all small business owners. You just go to my website at www.carlimedia.com. That's Carli media.com. And click the link on top, the chat with me link on top, and just book your free consultation there.
All right, awesome. And guys, I'll be sure to put those links in the actual publication, if you want to call it that, or post once this podcast goes live. All right, Carla, thank you so much again. Take care and all the best to you.
Thank you.